everybody, it's Nick Forster. This week on Teach Me One Thing, we get to spend some time with Danny Barnes. So Danny is just one of the great sort of talents of our time, great musician. He's been doing lots of cartoons lately, every day. In fact, he's been waking up and making drawings. Danny is just a great character and somebody that I've spent a lot of time with, both touring and playing music with and hanging out with. And he's really thoughtful and he's well-informed and he's got lots of skills. He's a deep file. And when I asked him what he wanted to teach me, he started talking about William Blake. And what's interesting about William Blake, of course, is that it was words and images, these illuminated manuscripts, and it's not unlike what Danny does every morning. So no matter what, we get to hang out with Danny Barnes, who's just one of my favorites. And here it comes. Danny Barnes, good to see you, man.
Hey, man, how's it going, Nick?
It's good. Thanks for doing this. Teach me one thing.
You must know a lot of stuff by now.
Oh, man, there's a lot of empty space in my head. There's a lot of room in there.
What did you learn? Anything cool?
I've learned a bunch of cool stuff. Yeah.
A
bunch of cool stuff. But mostly it's just really nice to visit with people at a time when we can't really visit, and do more than just say, "Hey, man, how are you doing? How's it going? How are you holding up?" But I also want to know, how are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm hanging in there pretty good. I'm staying real creative and stuff, and I'm doing pretty good.
I know you love being home.
Yeah, it's pretty nice. I'm doing a bunch of paintings and stuff. You want to see what I did today?
Yeah.
This one here is called Organic Banjo Aqua Green, and this one here is another one in pink. I did it in pink. And this one here is called Banjo and Channel Catfish, and the catfish jumped inside the banjo. You see? And this one here is called Free Balloons. Anyway.
And those were all banjos, the balloons.
Yeah.
And you did all those today?
Well, I finished them today. I've been messing with them I'm messing with them, and all those are sold. I've been messing with them, just kind of getting them dialed in,
And what's cool is you live in such a beautiful place up on the Olympic Peninsula. You're near the town of Port Townsend, and you get to go walk on the beach every morning with your dogs, right?
Every morning.
When do you do it?
Well, we go when the sun comes up. Like this time of year, it's about 4:30 or 5. We go pretty early. It's about 5, something like that. We get up real early and go down there. It's pretty early as it gets closer to the summer, then the solstice after that starts, going the other way or whatever. But
good thing you don't live in Alaska.
I guess so, yeah, for a lot of reasons. One, it's too cold. But it's a real neat scene when you see the sun just peek over the sky, like it's a peek over the mountain there. It's a pretty cool scene,
Yeah.
To catch that moment, right that moment,
Anyway, what I know, because I have traveled and played gigs and toured and made records with Danny Barnes, what I know is that every day I spend with you, I learn something. And you are a guy who has just broad curiosity, and you remember a lot of stuff, and you know about so many different things. Whether it's a road trip for 5 hours or whatever, you and we can cover some territory.
Yeah.
So what do you want to teach me?
Well, what I think would be kind of cool to do is I wanted us to read this William Blake poem called America the Prophecy.
Okay.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
And it's pretty dense. It's a bit of a plow, as it were.
Okay.
But nonetheless, it's kind of an interesting piece. A lot of those guys, I guess like Voltaire and William Blake, and a lot of those guys, they sort of thought that like America was going to be like in the Bible. They really had a lot of high hopes for it being like the New Jerusalem, like it mentions in the Bible, that America was going to be like sort of like the Promised Land or something like that in a certain sense. And it's interesting that a couple of those sort of really visionary guys from that period of time in the early 1700s or whatever kind of felt that way. But it's sort of like Mozart or something. Just the syllables end up being really beautiful. His use of language is unparalleled in a sense. There's a lot behind what he's writing in terms of what he's saying metaphysically. And I'm not saying that I know what that is, but there's a lot of people that have studied that, and academically and stuff. There's a million books written about his sort of take on everything or whatever. I'll start us if you don't mind. Okay, America, a prophecy. Plate 1, Preludium. The shadowy daughter of Urthona stood before red Orc when 14 suns had faintly journeyed o'er his dark abode. His food she brought in iron baskets, his drink in cups of iron. Crowned with a helmet and dark hair, the nameless female stood. A quiver with its burning stores, a bow like that of night. When pestilence is shot from heaven, no other arms she need. Invulnerable though naked, save where clouds roll round her loins. Their awful folds in the dark air, silent she stood as night. For never from her iron tongue could voice or sound arise, but dumb till that dread day when Orc essayed his fierce embrace. Dark virgin, said the hairy youth, thy father stern abhorred, rivets my tenfold chains while still on high my spirit soars. Sometimes an eagle screaming in the sky, sometimes a lion stalking upon the mountains, and sometimes a whale I lash, the raging fathomless abyss, anon a serpent folding around the pillars of Urthona and round thy dark limbs. On the Canadian wilds I fold, feeble my spirit folds, for chained beneath I rend these caverns. When thou bringest food, I howl my joy, and my red eyes seek to behold thy face in vain. These clouds roll to and fro and hide thee from my sight.
Wow. That's pretty cool, Danny.
Your turn.
All right, Danny, so I'll do one. Here's the next plate. Silent as despairing love and strong as jealousy, the hairy shoulders rend the lynx, free are the wrists of fire. Round the terrific loins he seized the panting, struggling womb. Enjoyed, she put aside her clouds and smiled her firstborn smile. And when a black cloud shows its lightnings to the silent deep, soon as she saw the terrible boy, then burst the virgin cry, I know thee, I have found thee, and I will not let thee go. Thou art the image of God who dwells in darkness of Africa, and thou art Phelan to give me life in regions of dark death. On my American plains I feel the struggling afflictions, endured by roots that writhe their arms into the nether deep. I see a serpent in Canada who courts me to his love, in Mexico an eagle, and a lion in Peru. I see a whale in the South Sea drinking my soul away. Oh, what limb-rending pains I feel, thy fire and my frost, mingle in howling pains, in furrows by the lightning's rent. This is eternal death, and this the torment long foretold. Wow. Okay, I'm going to have to dive in and spend some more time with this.
Pretty heavy dude, you know.
Yeah. America, a prophecy. So what else can we learn from this? You said the language and the syntax and the rhythm was kind of like Mozart. What did you mean by that?
Well, you know how like when you write songs, or say if you listen to a lot of country music, like the syllables in a way have like sort of like values kind of like a note does.
Yeah.
Or a rhythm does. Like just the sounds of the syllables. Like if you say, like when he said, I hear that train a-comin', it's rolling around the bend. I ain't seen the sunshine since I don't know when. I'm stuck in ba-ba-bee-ba-da-da-da-dee-da. Like there's like a rhythm to the syllables and the way they sound.
Yeah.
And so like, when the syllables in a poem, like they have, there's a way they work too, like a syntax and a logic and a harmony and everything of the way that syllables within a poem work as well. Just like notes in a phrase or a chord,
So how often do you read poetry in your normal, like a week of Danny Barnes' world?
Oh man, I'm always leaving things around. I read the Bible a lot, and I just leave things laying around. Like I found this really nice version of Leaves of Grass, that Walt Whitman poem. Yeah, I found a really nice edition of that, and I'll just take one like this and just leave it around. Like this is just an anthology. It's the complete poems of William Blake, and it has a good reference thing in the back. Like it takes you through all of and I've highlighted things. It takes you through all the characters and his proper names he uses and stuff like that and what they mean and the concepts and whatnot. And it's pretty good book.
Now you've been doing a lot of drawing and cartoons and as artwork and as you shared some of that with us at the top, and of course William Blake did too.
Yeah, he was a brilliant. If you see, I did this job where I got hired to do the voiceover for that book, The Marriage of Heaven and Hell. This producer guy had an idea to do that book, and I read one of the voices on it, and he gave me for a present a book, a really nice book that had the plates in there, and I'd never seen the plates.
Wow.
His paintings.
Yeah.
And so, but when I saw the painting, I saw it really kind of freaked me out. Like, it was really heavy. Like, I really got into his style, the way he draws, and just his trip, you know.
So the lesson for me really is to just revisit William Blake, and particularly that poem, and think about that in the terms of what's going on in this country right now, because there were people who placed a lot of hope and faith in this new nation of ours, and but then there were people like de Tocqueville and others who were saying, you know, they could travel around and see both the glory and the uniqueness, but also the dangers, right?
Yeah, I think that dude Voltaire might have had done some writings about that as well. You know, possibly. I have to research that, but I think that might be the case.
I just like hearing the way you say Voltaire.
How am I supposed to say it, Nick?
You said it, man. I just like the way.
Hey, man, I'm working on this drawing for tomorrow. It's called Godzilla and Three Miners. It's gonna be a giant Godzilla and then three little bitty miners. It'd be pretty funny.
And if people don't know, if they want to hear your, you did a sort of what you called a hillbilly translation of the Bible, but it's just a part of it that's already done.
Yeah,
right?
it's the Book of Genesis. Yeah, I did
Genesis.
the entire Book of Genesis. There's 50 chapters in Genesis, and I posted chapter 1 online.
Is it on your website?
No, it's on my SoundCloud. I'll send it to you if you want the link.
Okay.
And I've recorded like the first 3 or 4 chapters with abstract banjo accompaniment.
Yeah.
But the setup to it is that you get thrown in jail in Central Texas in like the mid 70s, early 80s, and back then they'd only give you the Bible and the dictionary to read when you got thrown in jail. That's all they had in there. And so you get thrown in jail in there, and there's like a local kid. And he starts reading the Bible, and he starts telling you what he thinks the Bible says, but he's just reading it cold, a line at a time, and he's just sort of telling you what it says in his own language. And so that's the setup of the book or whatever.
Yeah.
You know?
Hey, is that a new tattoo? Your wristwatch tattoo, is that new?
Yeah.
Let me see that. I hadn't seen that before.
It's a VU meter.
Oh, it's a VU meter. So it says it's decibels.
Yeah, it's 1 dB.
Well, Danny, it's fun hanging out with you. What I really appreciate, each one of these situations that I do, I get to see my friends, and all of them are doing well. Like, all of them are making stuff and learning stuff and taking care of themselves and their families, and you know, so and I'm just always happy to hang out with you, Danny.
I'm always happy to hang out with you too. I appreciate your intellect, and I appreciate you being interested in what I'm up to.
Yeah. Well, thanks again for doing this, Danny, and we'll stay in touch.
Okay.
Thanks, man.
Bye. Thanks.